Welcome everyone, we're just waiting for more people to join before we jump into today's topic, which is transforming tech teams, how to go from a reactive to a proactive team. Yes. Just handling the last minute logistics, so if all is good and you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. 6 people in the stream, that's amazing, and climbing. I'm excited for this one. It's been a while since I've been streaming last. There's the camera, there's you. And it's gonna be a good one. And I hope that you have some questions and that you want to participate, because I would love nothing more than to have you come on with questions so that we can really dive deep into the topic. Today, starting with a little bit of synthwave before we before we go and talk about reactive tech teams and how to make them, how to get the spark and the fire back. So I have a couple of logistics that I want to let you all know about. There's my Discord channel. That's the link is should be on the screen in the far right corner, and you are free to join the Discord. I have a community of people there that's growing, anyone from developers to my current clients, and I post all my stuff first on Discord and then on LinkedIn and YouTube. So it's a nice way to collaborate, to share ideas, to discuss the topics that I like to talk about: tech teams, leadership, technology in general. Alright, give me a couple of thumbs up if sound is good, if you can hear me, if you can see me well, and then we'll jump into today's topic. Thumbs up are rolling in, that's amazing. It's lovely to see you. Live stream number 8. Okay, let's kick things off so that you don't wait too long, because I see that you're all on time, which is amazing. I sometimes struggle with that, being on time. I'm one of those people for whom like everything is slightly flexible. So I really struggle with structure. I need to have a calendar to help me out there. But I also thrive under pressure, so I do my best work when the pressure starts piling in. Alright, let's cut the music and go into the topic at hand. Alright, now let's see if I set up my stream deck correctly. And you should see me from the side. Welcome to live stream number 8. Today we're going to talk about transforming tech teams, how to get them from a reactive state into a proactive state. This is something that's really common, way too common, that I've seen in my career. As I joined different tech teams and went from being an engineer in tech teams to being an engineering leader. And it's unfortunate that it's like that. It feels like if we don't really take care about how the tech team is evolving, it can quickly degenerate into a passive state, which causes the most talented and motivated engineers to leave. And then what's left behind is a core of engineers who become demotivated. They do the minimum that's required, and the business starts to suffer because of it. And it doesn't have to be this way. We can change that by bringing fun back into engineering, by reigniting the spark, by teaching the tech team how to win again. So today I'm going to try something a little bit different. We're going to talk about that. So first, to let you know about the agenda for today. We're going to discuss a bit about what is a reactive tech team, why it becomes reactive, how to turn it around, and then I'll give you my secret sauce on how to do that concretely. And then we'll have a little bit of a Q&A. But before we jump right into the topic, I want to give you a quick update on what's been going on my side. Recently, I just got a son, which I'm super excited about. And if you can see, he already managed to attach to my neck, which has been funny. It's surprising how much suction they can produce. So that's put a little bit all my activities on a bit of a burner back burner as I focus a bit more on the family with the new kid in the house and so on. But there's been exciting things also at my work, which is I've been mentoring a CTO and we developed a really great relationship. We're solving problems and it's been amazing to work with the client. That's really receptive to the feedback, and the company is really eager to implement those changes because they can see the results. I have another slot that's going to be opening in April as my family duties start hopefully with the small daughter going to the kindergarten, and I can ramp up the capacity. I'll have one slot opening for fractional services. So if you'd like to learn more about it, ping me in DMs and we can discuss more. I've also done some free one-on-ones for people who have lost their job, and that's been really amazing just to get insight into how the different people deal with that. And I've been fortunate enough to help them with things like how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, how to do a great CV so that you get noticed by a hiring manager, how to negotiate a salary. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff there that I can package and then record as videos so that other engineers who are in the same kind of situation can benefit it without having to schedule a one-on-one, which has been amazing, but I have a limited capacity and I would love to help more people. So the other thing that I've been thinking about is a group program where more engineers would go into the topics like leadership, negotiation, engineering management, and all the lessons that I've applied in my own career now delivered through my Discord, through weekly sessions, and organize a group. So if you're an engineer who's interested in something like that, do let me know in the comments or DM me and I'll let you know about the details. Now, let's go into the topic at hand. And today it's not going to be, I have the presentation right there on my screen, but I'm not going to show it to you because I want to make it a bit more personal, a bit more you and me, and a bit less PowerPointy, which will make it harder. So maybe I'll stumble around a little bit, but I ask for your patience. And with that said, let's jump right in. So I'm going to start with a story, as always, because I love stories and I think they're a powerful tool, both in leading engineering teams, like you can use storytelling everywhere, and in life in general. That's how we share knowledge between each other. What's a reactive tech team and why do they get reactive? Here's what I noticed. There's been more companies that I joined that have been in this reactive mode. Not all across the board, not across all departments, but if you're just focusing on individual tech teams, yeah, they have been very reactive. And it usually happens as the business grows, because if you're a really small company of just a couple engineers and you become reactive, your business is very likely going to end really soon. But in bigger companies, that can be, you can easily hide like pockets of reactivity around the company, and the company can still do well. It's not fun to be on those teams, and those teams are not really contributing that much to the business. So it's really important to turn them around, both for the sake of the engineers who work there, as well as the company's sake, because they need the proactive mindset, because that's what gets business results at the end of the day. Now why is a defensive tech team defensive? What happens? Why do they become like that? My first company that I joined has been in that kind of state for a while. And it's because the founders mostly left, and the business has evolved from finding a niche to being acquired and then scaling up. And then the scaling up part was just using existing technology, and there was no requirement to really build that much new stuff. So the founders, founding engineers, the hackers, the productive people left, leaving a constant stream of mediocre talent in the company. And then as the company evolved, they failed to capture the attention of new, prosperous, fresh talent. They didn't signal an environment that would be on the bleeding edge or attractive to new engineers. So it was really hard to grow a culture of innovation, being proactive in that kind of state. And whenever somebody new joins that kind of team, the problem with the defensive tech team is, after a while, people get used to the reactivity. People get used to business always wants something, but it's hard to do because we have a lot of legacy code, we have feature creep, there's a leadership gap, so it's really hard to build new stuff, and the business always wants something new features, new markets, right? But the tech team becomes defensive. They're like, yeah, but our infrastructure is not that great, and our deployment process and our code is running legacy, and it's really hard to change. And they hide behind the language of technology to push the business away. And then the business feels like, yeah, I know. I mean, the tech team is a black box. We don't really understand what's going on there. They're busy, and they're probably keeping the whole business alive. So I guess we just don't poke them too much so it doesn't get worse. That's a really tough situation to be in. But there is a way out of it. Before we jump into a solution, let's dig a little bit deeper into the problem itself. So I said that people get used to it, and this is a phrase that you will see in such a company. You will repeat that, yeah, we know it's bad, but that's just the way it is in our company. Oh, we would love to do that, but we have so much legacy, it's not possible. Sure, we would love to do a microservice, but we cannot deploy it in an easy way. So, it's not going to happen. And that kind of language is really dangerous, and it shows an underlying issue inside the organization. That's what I say and mean by the tech team has become defensive. They find excuses instead of solutions. They're demotivated, and it's a spiral that doesn't end. And then somebody new joins, who is passionate, motivated, has been on a high-performing team, and they are confused to the situation. why are you guys so passive? I mean, we can just take a microservice and we can deploy it in parallel. We'll just spin up a new environment. We'll do an API connection here. We'll separate that logic. We'll create something new here. We'll interface it to the old system. And meanwhile, all the engineers who got used to the reactivity is like, oh, it just sounds like work. I cannot deal with this. And that's the situation that you really want to avoid. And if you can't avoid it, you should try to start reforming it, transforming it. And that's what I mean by transforming tech teams that have lost their spark. How do you do that? Well, the fire needs to be reignited. And you do that by teaching the tech team, and if not teaching, at least reminding them how to win. Now let's talk about winning. What's winning in the context of a tech team? And why is it really important that they get used to wins? And if you think about, let's say the tech team is working and constantly under pressure, just catering to different departments in the company, customer support requests, some feature requests, marketing wants something, and they're really struggling to just keep everything in check. And then they want to build a new website. It's a big project. They want to completely revamp it using newer technology that will enable new features. To do that would be a big win. A really big win. But to get there from a place where they have not gotten used to winning is almost impossible. So what you want to do is you want to create a lot of small wins and then ramp up the intensity of the wins. What is winning? Winning is launching new products, launching new features, new services, something that gets fantastic feedback from your customers. Winning in a tech team can be reducing the amount of annoying work, things that you need to do manually, customer support requests that you need to resolve. Maybe it's some service is constantly failing and somebody needs to go and fix it manually. Reducing the amount of that annoying work will make it that much more pleasurable to work in a tech team. And when we're saying bring the fire back, it's about making the tech team be an environment where you do great work and you have fun doing it. It shouldn't be, oh my God, there's another task that needs to be done. And why is this person again, sending tasks to me? I have enough as it is. That's the opposite. Whereas you want to be in a situation where a task comes in, hey, we got this new idea for a marketing campaign, and you're like, it's going to bring, 15K in sales in the next 2 weeks. And you're like, yes, let's do it. Let's figure out how we can deploy that. Winning is also helping businesses achieve KPIs, solving complex tech challenges, raising the skill level of the entire team by implementing a new process or by learning a new technology, by using something that doesn't exist to improve the overall tech team landscape. Those are all wins. It's important to identify what a win is, and then once you achieve a win, it's even more important than actually winning to celebrate the win. And I will talk about what different aspects of winning are and how to then take this concept that I'm talking in a higher level theoretical approach to actually implement them inside the tech team as meetings, as strategies, as tactics, right? So let's talk about the secret sauce. What happens when a tech team gets defensive? The instinct is that a lot of the times I see the CEOs apply the wrong fix to the problem. They see a tech team that has become passive and they feel like they need to apply the pressure to make them proactive. So they start to push. But pushing in that case leads to the opposite result. The tech team just becomes more defensive. The more you push, the more defensive they get. If you push even harder, people will start to leave. So what's an alternative? Don't push, pull. And what is pulling? Pulling is giving them a compelling vision. The tech team needs to have a reason that they come to work every day beyond just the salary. Like the salary needs to be good enough, and then we need everything else because they're solving complex problems, because it's interesting, the work that they do, because they're having fun, because they're celebrating the wins. That's the concept of make development fun again. Make development fun again. Now it's a good tie into my previous session where I was talking about fantastic tech teams. What are the ingredients of a fantastic tech team? Well, I was just checking if all is good and people are still on board. Yes, they are. I saw some thumbs up. That's amazing. What are the elements of a fantastic tech team? Fun, trust, excellence, mentorship, camaraderie, a sense of belonging, and alignment towards a vision. If you take all of these concepts and start nurturing them inside the tech team that has become defensive, you will turn them around into a fantastic tech team. So now let's talk about the tactics. Well, first of all, a lot of the times inside the defensive tech team, there's a couple different aspects, right? The first one is there's probably a lot of work that is fighting different fires. Either is requests from the customers, something is wrong with the payment processing and needs to be resolved manually. Some service keeps dying internally. There's something that needs to be there's reports that all the time need to be manually generated. All of that is unplanned work, and a lot of the time that's boring work. So, or if not boring, at least annoying. Somebody needs to do something that they'd rather not do because there's more fun, higher value business features waiting that they cannot work on because they have to fix these reactive tasks. So it's really important to control the fires. And one way that we started implementing that with the client that I'm currently working on is we established an on-call, like on-duty rotation within the tech team, so that two people are tackling all of these fires that need to be handled daily on a weekly rotation. So pair of two people working on clearing customer care requests, some accounting support, all the things that need to be resolved. Why two? Because they can help each other out. And the point is to make this fun. They also, because they're touching different aspects of the system, they're also learning about the whole ecosystem of their technology. So their knowledge, the knowledge inside the team of the different elements of the system that they have is increasing through this on-duty rotation. That's one way to control the fires. Another way to control the fires is to identify patterns, and you can derive that from the on-duty rotation to just see what comes up often. And I remember at a couple of companies actually, my good friend Dennis came up with this concept that let's create, if things are repeating and constantly some things are becoming ill, let's create a doctor service that can automatically identify what went wrong, and then we'll have a set of pills that we can prescribe to each problem, and then the machine can automatically correct those problems. So let's say you have a payment. Let's say you have your processing payments, and some of the payments sometimes fail, and you need to manually resolve them. What you would do in this case is you would create a doctor service that would query the database, find all the payments that got stuck, and then you would write code that can unstuck them automatically, and the thing would check if it's still stuck, it would try to apply the fix, and if it manages to successfully resolve that case, it flags it automatically as resolved, and if it still fails after a couple of attempts, then only then it asks for human intervention, which brought down the amount of requests that we got into the tech team by a lot every time we implement that in different companies. So that's one way that you can also tackle handling fires. Identify what's going on, and the best way to do it, for example, if customer support is having an issue all the time, give them the tools that they can resolve those kind of issues. That way they don't even bubble up to the tech team. So that's one way to control the fires and bring down the amount of reactive work that's required. Why do we want to do that? Because we want to have capacity to work on business, on features that have a big business impact. I said one element of a reactive tech team is when you come to them with a big request, you have a impactful feature request. They say, oh, we're too busy, maybe next year. And the business person who came up with the idea, who is really passionate about it, who can see what kind of change that would make to the bottom line this year, goes back bumped and is like, I don't know what to do to make that change, to help the tech team. Maybe we need to hire more people. They're often even prepared to increase the budget. The problem is, if you don't resolve the underlying problems that the tech team is having, just adding more budget will not actually help resolve the situation. Adding more people will not help. You need to fix the underlying issues first, and then you can add people to a stable process. All right, so we talked about how to control fires and why we want to do that. We want to carve out time to work on impactful features. How do you work on impactful features so that they see production sooner? Well, you need to fix your deployments. You need to figure out a way how to break big, complex features into smaller deployable chunks. And that requires first that you have a great deployment process, ideally an automated one. And then to break down, let's say that you're trying to rebuild a website. What you want to avoid is having the old website and then simultaneously, you're doing change requests on the old website because it's still live and generating revenue. Meanwhile, you're building the new site for a year and a half, and then suddenly there's a big switch that you want to flip. You go from red to blue, and suddenly you realize that you forgot 15 critical features that were present in the old system. Maybe some of them got added inside the year where you were building this new website. So how do you go that? How do you go that way where you come to a solution sooner? Well, you need to break down the problem. Maybe you will just replace the checkout first with the new system, and there is going to be compromises that you need to make. But there are going to be compromises that you take in a year that will give you a higher return on your investment, because the new website is going to already be tested. It's going to be, you'll figure out how to deploy it in the process. And sure, for a while, it's going to be more complex because you will have two systems living side by side. And you will be slowly shifting things from one to the other. But you will have higher impact features sooner. You will learn more, and you will avoid a long and difficult, scary migration step where you flip the switch and hope nothing breaks. And I've been there. I've done the scary switch flipping, and every time I went there and built a big feature that was not deployed for a long time and replaced a whole piece of the old system, it failed. Every time. And we deployed it in the afternoon, and then we were fixing it. I remember one time one time at Sportradar, we were redeploying. We had a JavaScript application, and then we rewrote it into Java, because the whole company was a Java company. That was the core skill set. And we deployed in the afternoon, and then spent maybe until midnight deploying it, and then spent 2 weeks fixing all the bugs that we introduced. So don't do that. Find a way how to deploy sooner in smaller chunks, manage the risk, de-risk it. Right. Any questions? Let's check. Cedric asks, did you deploy these big features on a Friday? Else it's no fun. No, actually it wasn't. Unfortunately, I managed to avoid that, so it wasn't a Friday, but the effects were equally as disastrous. We just had the Friday to fix all the bugs, and then because nobody was really using the system in a critical way and paying for it, so you can get away with a bit more than otherwise when you have a mission critical system, because in that case I'm sure we would be up all weekend fixing those bugs. Then it says, mini tie number 2, the microservice strategy is working. Yes, it is. I'm deploying a lot of microservices lately. So let's see. Where were we? By the way, if you've got more questions, let me know in the comments. I'll answer them. So we talked about what's a reactive, what's a proactive mindset, how do you go from one to the other, how to figure out and deploy sooner. A big important part about how to decrease the amount of reactive work is to actually talk to other departments and let them know their needs in advance, so that you can plan and prioritize what they need. So have a meeting with the head of marketing, have the meeting with the head of accounting, with your logistics if you have it, and try to give them the space so that they can let you know their needs in advance and their projects in advance, so that you can plan and account for that. If you don't have that, then they will only come to you when the pain is high enough, so that they go through the through the trouble of putting something into the dev pipeline, and at the off chance of hearing no. Don't wait for them to come to you. Come to them sooner and plan together. Because a lot of the times you can prevent things escalating, or you can give them a better solution to the problem that they're experiencing then they can come up on their own, because you have the technical knowledge to actually do that. What's another way? There is another key ingredient to the whole process of transforming tech teams. A lot of times, what has been lost is the connection between the business and the tech. There's no transparency in between them. And when the technology department is not actively helping the business to achieve their business goals, you run into problems. Because they cannot see the impact of their work. And if they don't see the impact of their work on the bottom line, on the customer satisfaction, then it's not really fun to work in such an environment. So as the CTO, it's your job to talk to the CEO and make the tech team less of a black box. And bonus points if you can bring business KPIs straight into the tech team so that the individual developers are also engaged in business conversations about what kind of value that is bringing, what kind of effect will the change that they make inside the technology have on the actual business itself. That's the missing connection. So when you establish the connection between business and tech, you have transparency of goals, you plan together the features that need to be developed, and you create a feedback loop of rapid deployments. You start celebrating every win that is achieved, even if it's small, because that builds the confidence in the tech team. Then you start to move into a space where the tech team goes from a feeling of being defeated to a tech team that is confident that they can come up with solutions, that they have the fires under control, and that they're making positive change in their domain. They have an impact on the business itself, on the customer success, on growth, on all the KPIs that really matter. All right, I think that's my rant for today. If you have any more questions, now is the time. Otherwise, we'll slowly wrap up this stream. Let's see. I'll also check on Discord. There's no more questions, so I'll slowly wrap this stream up with a little bit of music so that we say goodbye in style. It's been lovely having you this Friday. I have some exciting stuff coming up. I'm thinking about offering more of the strategic stuff, but I'm also trying to make it more approachable for people who are just starting on their leadership journey to learn about the concepts of leadership inside the tech team. So that's going to be exciting. I'll also post more about how to negotiate salary, how to create a fantastic CV that hiring managers would love to see, and how to stand out from the crowd, because one of the big topics that is on my mind is personal branding for engineers, because I see as we're moving into a new market, as we're moving into the new reality of just our economic situation, where there is so much talent outside on the market. If you don't stand out, then it's really going to be tough to get a job, to find something that you are going to be happy with. So one sure way to increase your exposure is to create a personal brand, to post your opinions, to post your code, to have a public GitHub profile where you can showcase your code and your skill set, to interact with other engineers. And I think that's a great way forward and something that's really needed if you want to succeed. It's not enough to just have a good profile that nobody knows about, because ideally you want to skip the first step. And when somebody contacts you or you contact a company, they can look you up, see all the resources that you've put up into the world, and they decide, we want to work with that person. We just need to figure out the logistics. So if you would like to hear more about personal branding, then let me know. I'm definitely looking forward to sharing what I've learned. And I see a lot of people could really benefit from a few simple changes that you can make to your CV, to your LinkedIn profile, and to your website to increase the chances of getting hired. Because there's been a consistent theme on all the calls that I've done in the previous week, which is when you're applying for a job, first knowing what kind of job, what kind of company you want to apply for, to narrow it down is going to make the search a lot easier. Because if your potential area pool of jobs is 50,000, it's going to be hard to start approaching them. But if it's 300, you can go on LinkedIn, find exactly, I want to work for a fintech company that does small loans to business owners. There's probably 40 of them in the wild. 40 is manageable. Now you can Google them. Now you can start applying. And if you start tailoring your profile to exactly those fintech companies and highlight how all your work history is relevant to working in a fintech company such as theirs, your chances of getting hired go through the roof. So you want to go into a state where as you apply, they pre-screen you based on your online presence, and the first call is no longer, should we work together? Let's get to know you, but we definitely want to work with you. We just need to figure out the logistics. All right, with that in mind, I'm gonna leave you. Cedric has one more question, so maybe we'll do that. How do you deal with, it's a great question. How do you deal with different personalities on team? Have you struggled with one specific type more than others? Yes. So that's a great question. There's going to be different personalities on every tech team. And usually inside the teams, who's the loudest is the extroverts. And the introverts are kind of, they shy away. They have great ideas, but you need to learn how to approach them. The people who are most difficult to work with are the brilliant engineers who kind of solo. So they are the non-team players, the ones who want to do everything themselves. And they take over a chunk of their code and just like push everyone out, and they can be brilliant in their own little domain, but the buzz factor becomes one. And it's really important to try to learn, try to teach those people to share their knowledge and to become a team player. And if you cannot do that, then you've hired the wrong person and you should probably get rid of them. All right, that's all the energy that I have for today, because I need to go run into the rain to get my daughter. I'll see you next Friday, and hopefully you'll be there again. Have a lovely weekend. I'll see you soon.